morning, classmate. Our topic is transmission media. Transmission media is a communication channel that carries the information from the sender to the receiver. Data is transmitted through the electromagnetic signals. Electromagnetic signals is often propagated through conduction and radiation. These signals can be intercepted using sensors such as near-field probe or an antenna. Using these sensors allows the electromagnetic signals to be transferred into a current signal, which is post-processed to remove noise and limit the frequency band in order to apply the electromagnetic signals analysis. The quality of the received signals is usually improved if the used sensor is shielded from unwanted frequency bands or other electromagnetic interferences. The main functionality of the transmission media is to carry the information in the form of bits through LAN, local area network. It is a physical path between transmitter and receiver in data communication. In a copper-based network, the bits in the form of electrical signals. In a fiber-based network, the bits in the form of light pulses. In fiber-based internet, data is carried through fiber optics instead of the conventional cables. Fiber optics involves the use of thin lightweight strands of glass or fiber that transport information through modulated light. These strands are as thin as human hair and can carry digital information over unimaginably long distances. Since fiber optics are not as commonly used as conventional cables, installing the fiber optic internet is usually a more instructive process and takes a bit longer than cable internet to install. For installing fiber-based internet, you would usually need a professional. However, some providers might offer you a self-installation option. While network use copper media because it is inexpensive, easy to install, and has low resistance to electrical current. However, copper media is limited by distance and signal interference. Data is transmitted on copper cables such as electrical pulses. A detector in the network interface or a destination device must receive a signal that can be successfully decoded to match the signal sent. However, the longer the signal travels, the more it deteriorates in a phenomenon referred to as signal attenuation. For this reason, all copper media must follow strict distance limitations such specified by the guiding standards.
In OSI, or Open System Interconnection phase, transmission media supports the layer 1. Therefore, it is considered to be as layer 1 component o yung ating physical layer. The electrical signals can be sent through the copper wire, light pulses sa fiber optics, frequency sa atmosphere, water, and vacuum. The characteristic and quality of data transmission are determined by the characteristics and medium of signal. Yung characteristic ng ating data transmission ay malalaman natin sa medium and signal ng ating connection. Katulad na lang sa wire na ginamit natin, kung ito ba ay copper wire o fiber optic wire, na kayang mag-transmit ng 100 gig per second ng data. O kung wireless connection naman, ay depende sa router na ginamit natin kung ilan ba ang maximum link speed at band support o kung yung ilan ang pwedeng makakonect dito. Ang the best dito ay yung multi-stream na Wi-Fi router na may 3x3 na antena. Transmission media, two types are wired media and wireless media. In wired media, medium characteristic are more important. Dun sa ating wired media ay mas importante daw ang medium na ginamit natin o yung physical wires na ginamit natin kagaya nga ng fiber optic wires na mas mabilis mag-transmit ng data. In wireless media, signal characteristics are more important. Sa wired media naman, ay mas importante ang signal characteristic kasi nga nakadepende ito sa frequency na dumadaloy. Mas mataas sa frequency, mas mabilis ang transmit ng data. Different transmission media have different properties such as bandwidth, delay, cost, and ease of installation and maintenance. Iba-iba daw ang katangian at uri ng transmission media. Yung bandwidth o yung maximum data transfer rate kung gaano ba kabilis ang isang connection. Doon sa delay naman, syempre di naman natin kailangan ng 10 meters na wire kung ang PC natin ay 1 meter lang ang layo sa router. Magkokos yun ng delay sa ating connection. Sa cost naman, sa mga components na ginamit natin, ay mas mahal talaga ang magagastos kapag mas gusto natin na mas mabilis ang ating connection. Doon sa ease of installation and maintenance, ay kung gaano ba kadali ang installation ng network, ay nakadepende pa din sa knowledge natin kung papaano gumagana ang isang network na yun.
So, the bandwidth is a factor that be considered to have a transmission media. So the meaning is the greater the bandwidth of a medium, the higher the data transmission rate of signal. So there is a speed in the PowerPoint. So the bandwidth can be defined as hertz. So the capacity of transmission is the meaning of bandwidth because it holds the capacity for transmission of bandwidth. And the examples of the bandwidth are the wire, free space, and fiber optic cable. So the wire is commonly used, and the widely used is the coaxial cable that offers a bandwidth of 750 MHz. Then the free space is like the Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi, and offers 100 kHz or few gigahertz. And then the fiber optic cable, it is the fastest because of its components, and it offers of speed of 1 terahertz and 1000 terahertz. The data and time, and the answer will be bits per second, or megabits per second. So the example is Wi-Fi. When you have a 2.5 gigahertz and the range is 400, you will have a slow bandwidth. And when you have a 5 gigahertz, when you have 5 gigahertz, the range is 200 meter because bandwidth, when you are high speed, then the range is slow or decreases. And the baseband and the broadband. So the baseband is for internet. It is for in long distance and good for short distance or local area network. So, and the broadband is the radio or the TV. So why? Because the frequency rate is very high, so the long distance is fine. And when you are sending or receiving, the broadband will do it the same time, while the baseband will do it one at a time. When you send first, then after you send, you will receive. It is one at a time. So the baseband and the broadband is the usage type of bandwidth. So the example for the baseband is the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi only capable for short distances. So the interference is another factor considered. So the meaning is a process of disturbing a signal when it travels through a medium on the addition of some unwanted signal. So in the other word, interfere, it means that something is blocking or resisting the signal. So for example, in the Wi-Fi modem, it sends requests to the main server, then back to the modem. Sometimes, when there are too many modem or Wi-Fi in the home or in the neighbors, the signals are bumping each other or when connecting in one channel. So it distracts when there are too many Wi-Fi modem. So in layman's term, interference is something disturbing the signal or distracting the signal.
Second factor that needs to be considered for designing the transmission media is transmission impairment. Transmission impairment. The signal received may differ from the signal transmitted. The effect will degrade the signal quality for analog signal and introduce bit errors for digital signals. Impairment is the loss or abnormality of the function. Example ay yung mga malfunction ng wire, wireless, and any other device na nakakapag-transmit or omit ng signals and data. Tapos, sabi din dito, yun daw transmission impairment kapag yung signal na sinesend ng sender hindi same sa na-receive or marireceive ng receiver. Tapos, bumababa yung quality ng signal na sinesend ni sender papunta kay receiver. Yun daw ay nagiging cause din ng errors for digital signals. So, paano nagkakaroon ng transmission impairment? Meron siyang 3 causes. Una is yung attenuation or yung loss of energy. Doon nangyayari yung pagbaba or pag-iba-iba ng frequency. Second is distortion or the change of shape of the signal. Tapos, pangatlo, yung noise. Yung tatlong yun, yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng transmission impairment. Na yung transmission impairment naman mahalagang factor na kailangan i-consider sa pag-design ng transmission media.
Causes of transmission impairment. So first, ano muna yung transmission impairment? Ito yung signal na kung saan na isinend natin. So yung signal na sinend natin is hindi nakatulad ng signal na marireceive natin. So ano yung mga causes nun? First is attenuation, means the loss of energy that is mainly due to distance. The strength of the signal deteriorates the more distant its travel, that leads to loss of energy. So ito, ang pinaka-point nito is yung signal, paglayo ng distance, paghina ng signal. Then next is distortion. It occurs when there is a change in shape of the signal. So yung distortion is, kung makikita nyo dun sa picture, dun sa at the sender, iba na yung form or yung itsura ng signal na na-receive, na sinend ng sender dun sa signal na na-receive ng receiver. Makikita nyo, although they are more likely magkatulad, pero meron pa ding pagbabago. Nag-iba yung shape, hindi na siya ganun ka-straight. Kung makikita nyo yung mga lines, yung wave. Noise. As signal travels through a transmission medium, some unwanted signal were carried in that creates the noise. So yung signal na isinend ng sender, bago siya makarating sa receiver, nakakagather siya ng ibang signal, yung mga unwanted signals. And yung unwanted signals na yun, ayun yung nagiging noise.
Hi, good afternoon. So, for that, I want to introduce myself. I'm Carla Montesa from BSCPE3B and a group of belong to the group of 2. So, ang topic ko is classification. So, classification of transmission media. So, meron tayo ditong 3. So, transmission media, meron siyang dalawang branches. Guided media and unguided media. So, ano nga po ba ang meaning o pagkakaintindi po natin sa transmission media? So, ang transmission media po is a communication channel that carries information from sender to the receiver. Data transmit through the electromagnetic signal. So, ano nga po ba ang electromagnetic signal? So, ang electromagnetic signal po is travel through anything like air, solid materials, or a vacuum. Ito po yung example. Then, next po is the main functionality of the transmission media is to carry information in the form of bits through LAN or local area network. So, ano nga po yung LAN? Ang LAN po is typically used in private household or in companies to set up home corporate network. So, used to communicate with each other. Ginagamit ko din po nito to communicate each other. So, ito po yung example ng LAN. So, meron po siyang host po. Then, yung mga nakakonect po sa kanya. And, ang LAN din po ay comprises at least 2 end devices. So, next ay, ang transmission media din po ay may two branches, guided media and unguided media. So, these two branches po ay i-discuss po ng dalawa kong ka-group. Thank you po.
So, my topic is guided media. So, what is guided media? Also called as bounded media. Physical medium through which signals are transmitted. So, guided media, mako-compare po natin siya sa wireless and wired, na kung saan ang guided media is yung wired dahil nahawakan at nakikita po natin ang mga components na ginagamit sa guided media. And it's also called as bounded media dahil may boundary lang po or may hangganan lang yung naaabot ng guided media, since nahawakan lang naman natin yung ating components or medium na ginagamit dito. Kung ano lang po yung naaabot nun, yun lang po yung hangganan ng ating guided media. So, may 3 parts of guided media: the twisted pair, coaxial cable, and the fiber optic. So, first is the twisted pair. So, familiar na po tayo dito since natakal natin sa NSA, and also nagawa po tayo ng Ethernet cable using twisted pair. It is a physical media made up of pair of cable twisted to each other. So, from the name itself, twisted pair is dalawang wired na magka-twist siya sa isa't isa. So, makikita po natin sa picture, yung jacket is yung nahawakan nating part ng cable. Then, pag binuksan, makikita po natin yung twisted pair. Mostly, ang ginagamit na po natin ngayon is yung 4-wired twisted pair, 4-pair twisted pair, na kung saan magkaka-twist po sila according to their color, like white, orange, white, blue, and white, blue. So, pag doon po sa loob ng twisted pair is the bare wire. So, it is cheaper compared to other transmission media. It is also easy to install and is lightweight cable. Its frequency is range from 0 to 3.5 kHz. So, next is the 2 types of twisted pair. So, it's the UTP and the STP. So, UTP, unshielded twisted pair. unshielded twisted pair is widely used in telecommunication. So, ito na po yung pinaka ginagamit natin when it comes to telecommunication. So, meron po siyang types ng UTP cable from category 1 to 6. So, kung makikita nyo po sa jacket ng ating UTP cable, may nakalagay po doon Cat 6, then UTP cable. Cat ay ang cat po ay ibig sabihin is category. So, category 1 to 6. So, paglaki po ng category is pagbilis din or paglaki ng ating Mbps. And then, next is the picture. So, ayan po yung picture ng ating UTP cable. So, advantages and disadvantages of UTP. Its advantages is it's cheap. Installation of unshielded twisted pair is easy. It can be used for high-speed LAN. Disadvantages. This cable can only use for shorter distances because of attenuation. So, ibig sabihin, paglayo ng distance, paghina ng signal. So, hindi siya pwede for longer distances. Next is the shielded twisted pair. So, the main difference of UTP to STP is that ang STP po ay may nakakover sa kanyang mesh o yung parang foil sa kanyang mga wire. So, yung foil na yon or yung mesh na tinatawag ay naka-wire doon because it allows the higher transmission rate. So, features of STP. Speed and throughout is 10 to 100 Mbps. Average cost per node is moderately expensive. Media and connector size is medium to large. Maximum cable length is 100 meters. So, if we compare po natin to sa UTP cable, the media and connector size is ng ating pong UTP is short to medium lang, while dito is medium to large. So, mas lumawak po yung na aabot niya. And the average cost per node is moderately expensive, while in UTP, it's cheaper. So, advantages and disadvantages of STP. Advantages. The cost of shielded twisted pair cable is not very high and not very low. An installation of STP is easy. It has a higher capacity as compared to unshielded twisted pair. It has a higher attenuation. It is shielded that provided the higher data transmission rate. So, disadvantages. It is more expensive as compared to UTP and coaxial cable. It has a higher attenuation rate. So next is coaxial cable. So coaxial cable is a very commonly used transmission media. So ito po, most commonly makikita natin to sa TV. Yun yung cable na nagko-connect sa TV at saka sa antenna is the coaxial cable. Also, kung may mga cable kayo, yung cable na kino-connect natin sa cable channel is also the coaxial cable. So, yung name niya coaxial ay nakuha dahil ang cable na ito ay nagko-contain ng dalawang conductor na parallel sa isa't isa. As you can see sa picture below, yung copper wire na inner core at yung outer core na copper mesh ay parehong copper gawa. So, yung insulation, siya yung naghihiwalay sa copper wire at saka sa copper mesh. Dahil pag nagdikit yung copper mesh at copper wire, it can cause
short circuit dahil pareho silang ng wire na gamit. And next is the features of the coaxial cable. As you can see, nandito yung types, ohms, AWG, conductor, and description. So, yung AWG stands for American Wire Gauge, in which ito po yung standardized sizes ng gauge. While yung type, kung mapapansin nyo, sa twisted pair, ang gamit niya is CAT, stand for category. Ngayon, sa coaxial cable, ang gamit is RG, which is radio guide. Since radio frequency ang most commonly used na coaxial cable for data transmission. So, yan. So, next is the two types of coaxial cable. So, it's the baseband transmission and the broadband transmission. The main difference of the two is that the baseband can only transmit a single signal at a time, while the broadband kaya niyang mag-transmit ng signal ng multiple signal at the same time. So, the advantages and disadvantages of coaxial cable. So, the advantages is the data can be transmitted at high speed. So, mas mabilis ang data transmission ng coaxial cable compare sa twisted pair. Then, it has better shielding as compared to twisted pair. So, mas maano yung protection ng ating coaxial cable compare sa twisted pair. It provides higher bandwidth. So, mas malaki yung Mbps ng coaxial cable compare sa UTP. So, the disadvantages, it's more expensive as compared to unshielded twisted pair. If any fault occur in the cable causes the failure in the entire network.
The last one is the fiber optic. Fiber optic cable is a cable that uses electrical signal for communication. Fiber optic is a cable that holds the optical fiber coated in plastic that are used to send the data by pulses of light. So, the main difference of fiber optic to the two other cable is that hindi po gumagamit ng copper wire ang fiber optic. It uses optical fibers coated in plastic na nagtatransmit ng data by pulses of light. So, basic elements of fiber optic cable. So, ito po yung makikita natin sa ating fiber optic cable. So, first is the jacket, in which ayun po yung nahahawakan nating part ng cable. The next one is the cladding, and then the core. So, yung core is the optical fiber consists of narrow strand of glass or plastic. But most commonly used po dito is plastic at hindi glass. Pero pwede din ang glass. A core is a light transmission area of fiber. The more the area of the core, the more light will be transmitted into the fiber. So, pag laki po nung area ng core, pagdami din ng light na pwedeng i-transmit sa ating fiber optic. So, cladding or cladding, the concentric layer of glass is known as cladding. So, ang pinaka-purpose po nito is nire-reflect niya yung light para bumalik sa core. And then, the jacket, yun na po yung protective part niya. So the last is the disadvantages of fiber optic. So greater bandwidth. So compared to the tooth cable, ito po yung mas malaki ang Mbps. Faster speed. So mas mabilis ang pag-send ng data using fiber optic since it's not using the copper wire. Longer distances. The fiber optic carries data, so mas mahaba or mas malayo yung naabot niyang distance. Better reliability. The fiber optic cable is more reliable than copper cable as it immune to any temperature changes, while it can cause obstruct in a connectivity of copper cable. So mas reliable siya since pag copper, pag sobrang init or sobrang lamig, nagkakameron ng malfunctioning sa fiber optic, kaya niyang i-resist yung mga problem na yon. So thinner and sturdier. Fiber optic cable is thinner and lighter in weight, so it can withstand more pressure than copper cable. So that's all.
So let us continue our discussion. So now it's unguided transmission. So what does unguided transmission means? Unguided transmission, from the hierarchy of transmission media, so it is one of the types of transmission media, the guided media and the unguided media. So it is the second category. Let us tackle about the unguided media. So under naman sa unguided media, meron tayong radio wave, microwave, and then the infrared. So at first, let's understand what is unguided media. Unguided media or unguided transmission transmit the electromagnetic waves without using any physical medium. Therefore, it is also known as wireless transmission. So if we say wireless transmission, so literally there is no wire or cable being used. So pag sinabi daw unguided transmission, gumagamit daw ito ng electromagnetic waves para makapag-transmit ng information. So it doesn't need any physical medium just to transport information from one place to the another. In unguided media, air is the media through which the electromagnetic energy can flow easily. It does not need a medium to propagate or travel from one place to the another. So in unguided media, hindi daw natin kinakailangan ng any form ng medium para mag-travel ang ating signal, ang ating information. Ang kailangan lang natin is the air. Air is the media being used through unguided media. For example, as you can see in the picture, electromagnetic wave is formed with the combination of two fields. You can see the electric field, which is the y-axis, and the magnetic field, which is the x-axis. They are perpendicular to each other, and if they are combined, they can create electromagnetic waves, which will be the carrier of this of the information. So it travels in any direction. So the concept of electromagnetic wave, as you can see on the another picture, the blue wave, which is the magnetic field, and the red one is the electric field. They are perpendicular to each other. You can see that the phasing of two complete cycle is also the same. So on EM wave spectrum, we will be tackling about the three main wave. The first one is the radio wave,
The second one is the microwave, and the third one is the infrared. So as you can see, all of those sizes being represented. The radio wave is almost a size of a building and a human. Microwave is almost a size of a honeybee, and infrared is a size of pin or a button. So the radio wave, the microwave, and the infrared are three of those waves on the electromagnetic spectrum who has the attribute of carrying information or carrying signals because of their large amplitude that can travel kilometer away. All of the rest of this wave, which is the visible, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma rays, the rest of these waves can only travel a meter away or shorter than that. So now let us tackle what is radio wave. So radio wave in the EM wave spectrum, it has the largest wave of the all waves. Radio wave, electromagnetic waves that are transmitted in all directions of free space. Radio wave are omnidirectional. The signal are propagated in all directions. The range in frequencies of radio wave is from 3 kHz to 1 kHz. In the case of radio wave, the sending and receiving antenna are not aligned. The wave sent by the sending antenna can be received by any receiving antenna. So for an example, you can see the FM radio wave, which means frequency modulation radios. There are two ways how radio wave are transmitted. First one is the A, ground wave, with one point to the another point, from transmitter to the receiver. It is only on the ground of the earth, so that's called ground wave. And the next one, which is from one point on the earth going through the ionosphere. So this is the two pictures combining the converging two. So for another example, the transmitting antenna going to the ionosphere, and there is receiving antenna. There's two ways, and the another one is the ground wave. So the transmitting antenna to the receiving antenna. That's how radio wave or FM radio or even AM radio can be transmitted. Two ways, the ground wave and the sky wave. Advantages of radio transmission. So radio transmission is mainly used for wide area network and mobile cellular phones. So radio wave are cover a large area, and they can even penetrate the walls. Radio transmission provides a higher transmission rate. So as the attribute of radio waves, it can penetrate even the walls, and it can covers a large area, even a whole nation, even a whole country. It can covers all of this area, and it has even the higher transmission rate. So if radio wave transmit, it always received by the receiver. Maybe it's sometimes distorted, but anyways, it is received, and that's the most important thing. So going back, next one is the microwave. So what is a microwave? So again, to the EM spectrum, we can see the microwave, the second largest amplitude and second lowest frequency. It is smaller than the radio wave, but larger than the infrared, and it is almost a size of a honeybee. microwave is a wireless communication technology that uses high-frequency beams of radio waves to provide high-speed wireless connections that can send and receive voice, video, and data information. So there are two main types of microwave transmission: the terrestrial transmission and this satellite microwave transmission. First one is the terrestrial microwave transmission. Terrestrial microwave transmission is a technology that transmits the focused beams of a radio signal from one grounded base microwave transmission antenna to the another. Microwave are the electromagnetic wave having the frequency in the range of 1 GHz to 1000 GHz. So as we all know, the standard unit of measurement for frequency is hertz, and hertz is also equals to a complete cycle over a second. So 1 hertz is equals to 1 cycle per second. Microwave are unidirectional. Comparing to radio wave, which is omnidirectional, the microwave are unidirectional, which means it only travels from one point to another point, only travels a one direction. As the sending and receiving antenna is to be aligned, the waves sent by the sending antenna are narrowly focused. In this case, antenna are mounted on the tower to send a beam to another antenna which is kilometer away or even miles away. It works on the line of sight transmission. The antennas mounted on the tower are direct sight of each other. So as you can see in the picture, the terrestrial microwave transmission, from one transmission point, a freestanding tower to another receiver, which is another antenna on the top of a building. So the transmitter and the receiver. Characteristics of microwave. Frequency range. The frequency range of a terrestrial microwave is from 4 to 6 GHz to 21 to 23 GHz. Bandwidth. It supports the bandwidth from 1 to 10 Mbps. If we say bandwidth, we are talking about the carrier capacity of a signal. So a bandwidth, a larger bandwidth means a larger capacity of carrying a signal or carrying information of the signal. Short distance, it is inexpensive for short distance. So for short distance, microwave is cheap. While for long distance, it is expensive, as it requires higher tower for a longer distance. So you will be needing a large amount of money in order to install a higher tower for longer distance. Attenuation means loss of signal. It is affected by environmental condition and antenna size. So microwave is susceptible for these interruptions, such as environmental condition and antenna size. So microwave can be distorted. There will be a fall of network or down of network. Advantages of microwave. Microwave transmission is cheaper than using cables. So practically speaking, microwave don't need many cables just to transmit information from one place to another, and it is free from land acquisition, as it does not require any land for the installation of cables. Communication over oceans can be achieved by using microwave transmission. Microwave transmission provides an easy communication in terrains, as the installation of cable in terrain is quite difficult task. So for the installation of microwave, we will be just needing one point, or the tower point, then the receiver point. So we don't need to spend or require any land just to install for cablings. We will be just needing a square meter of land to install build a tower. Disadvantages of microwave transmission. So there are also disadvantages. First one is the eavesdropping. An eavesdropping creates insecure communication. Any malicious user can catch the signal in the air by using its phone antenna. Out of phase signal. A signal can be moved out of phase by using microwave transmission. Susceptible to weather condition. As you all know, a microwave transmission is susceptible to weather condition. This means that any environmental changes such as rain, wind can distort the signal. The bandwidth limit. Allocation of bandwidth is limited in the case of microwave transmission. The second one is the satellite microwave transmission. Satellite microwave transmission. A satellite is a physical object that revolves around the Earth at a known height. Satellite communication is more reliable nowadays as it offers more flexible than cable and fiber optic system. We can communicate with any points on the globe by using satellite communication. We can communicate with any point on the globe, and even using the satellite microwave transmission. So how does satellite works? The satellite accepts the signal that is transmitted from the Earth station and it amplifies the signal. The amplified signal is retransmitted to the another Earth station. So let us see this picture from the transmitting antenna sending a signal to the satellite and then downlink it to the receiving antenna. So satellite only amplifies the signal from one station on the Earth to the another station or to the receiver. So comparing the two microwave transmission, which is the terrestrial and the satellite transmission. So comparing the terrestrial and satellite microwave transmission, microwave relay station line at site path approximately 30 miles. So while the satellite needed only two freestanding tower or on the Earth station from one Earth point to the another Earth point, and the satellite above. Advantages of satellite microwave communication. The coverage area of a satellite microwave is more than the terrestrial microwave. The transmission cost of satellite is independent of the distance from the center of the coverage area. Satellite communication is used in mobile and wireless communication application. It is easy to install. It is used in wide variety of applications such as weather forecasting, radio, TV signal, broadcasting, mobile communication, and many others. So the disadvantages of satellite microwave communications: satellite design and develop require more time and higher cost. The satellite needs to be monitored and controlled on a regular period so it remains in orbit. The life of satellite is about 12 to 15 years. Due to this reason, another launch of satellite has to be planned before it becomes non-functional. And last in our list of unguided media transmission is the infrared. Again, on our EM spectrum, the infrared is the third to the highest amplitude and third to the lowest frequency. It is only a size of pin head. An infrared transmission is a wireless technology used for communication over short range. The frequency of the infrared in the range from 300 GHz to 400 THz. It is used for short range communication such as data transfer between two cell phones, TV, remote operation. Data transfer between a computer and cell phone resides in same closed area. only short range communication. So we say short range, there is a limitation of a distance in our communication. If we use infrared, it is only commonly used in data transfer between two cell phones and TV, remote operations. Data transfer between computer and cell phone resides in the same close characteristic of infrared. It supports high bandwidth and hence the data rate will be very high. Infrared waves cannot penetrate the walls. Therefore, the infrared communication in the room cannot be interrupted in nearby rooms. An infrared communication provides better security, minimum interference. So dahil nga si infrared is just in a short uh, distance, there is a minimum interference, so there will be no interruption of the signal. Infrared communication is unreliable outside the building because the sun rays will interfere with infrared waves. So that will be all. Thank you and good day.